I kind of grappled with for a long time that feeling of like being an artistic person because I always knew that I wanted to just go out there and try a bunch of things. And when I was first starting, I was really just experimenting for a long time and trying everything I could get my hands on. And I really struggled to say that, I was an artist in that way because I didn't have one thing that I always did or anything that I really excelled at because I was in that stage of growth of just trying to figure things out and try to find out what I enjoyed. Is it something that you've grappled with as well and trying to understand who you are and how to define yourself when you do try so many different things?
Yeah, definitely. Like I'm still in the process of figuring out I guess what I am and what I define myself as because like it's really hard because sometimes I love that some photographers are so confident to say I'm a landscape photographer or like I'm a wedding photographer. And I'm like, but what about me? Like I like doing photography. I love creating like videos and visuals as well. Um it I feel like it's a constant struggle, but I try not to think too much about it because otherwise you start spiraling and go have an identity crisis as an artist. So whenever I'm in that headspace, I try to just create whatever that pops in my mind. I'll just create and try not to think too much about it. And then throughout the process, you learn so much as well. So I feel like that's what matters really.
I think one of the things for me about trying to define myself in the beginning was to kind of put those sort of guardrails on myself to know what sort of jobs I would accept and what I would turn away and what I would do. Because I obviously couldn't say yes to everything and I couldn't spread myself too thin. How do you sort of define what jobs you do, or how do you come up with in your own head a way to say, well, is this something that I want to do? Or are you just like, anything that comes my way, I'm just going to accept?
I think I'm a little bit different to what you did because I'm a bit crazy. Where I'll just like, I'll take it and then see how it goes. And then especially because like especially content creation and photography, I've only fully started like maybe a year and a half or 2 years ago. So I was still figuring out what works for me, what I don't like. And then when you know what you don't like, you wouldn't know until you try it. So last year especially, I was like, just take everything, see how it goes. And if I don't like it, at least I tried and I know that I don't like it. So that's how I kind of started like cutting things down. So for example, last year I did like a few food photography and product photography gigs, and I was like, this is not it for me. Like I cannot take photos of stuff that doesn't move. I don't know what it is. And then that's how I figured out, oh, I guess I don't like food photography. So now I don't usually take those food photography stuff. I just take more like a couples and people involved photos. I think if I didn't try it last year, I'd probably still be wondering, like, oh, do I maybe like it or would I enjoy it? But I'm not sure. But now because I tried it, I'm like definitely knows that I no don't enjoy it in the future. So I don't have to take that risk anymore.
Have there been other things that you've tried previously and just thought, hey, that's not quite for me?
I did one content job. Like I had to create a campaign for a dating app. And that when I first got the job, because I'm already married as well, I was like, I can't take this job. Like, it's not for me. But then I sit with it for a while and I was like, actually, like, why are you restricting your like creativity? Like, maybe you can think something out of this. Like, it doesn't have to be about you, it could be somebody else. So I did a whole this scripting and campaign for it. It ended up working out really well. And that's when I realized, like, maybe like I enjoyed it. I don't know if I'll take it again, but I'm glad I did it. Like, I have a lot of jobs like that.
And even if you didn't enjoy the end result of the job or, what you actually had to create, you'll probably still find things from those jobs, right? And strengths that you can take away to bring into other gigs.
Exactly. I feel like from that job I learned a lot. Like I learned that like I actually like I've always liked writing, but I've learned like I actually enjoy scripting and creating this whole story for the campaign. Like that's something I want to do again. Yeah, you just learn little things like that shoot I did. I've I accidentally made the footage way too overexposed for videos. I had to learn how to combat that in the post. I don't think I've learned that skill if I didn't do that campaign, Like it's just the little things that you always learn from things that even if you didn't want to do it. So I feel like it's always beneficial, especially when you're starting out.
How do you like define your style then? Because I think your style comes through in the way that you do things, even though you do a lot of different types of work. I think your style comes through when you are like talking about it to other people or trying to present yourself to these new opportunities. How do you define what it is that you do?
My style, I usually explain to them it's emotional with hint of nostalgia because I started photography with like film photography. So I love that nostalgic feel to any of photos or videos. And I love storytelling. And then storytelling that hits like that core emotions, like evoke like warmth or like anything, like conflict or any kind of emotion through my work, even with photography. So that's what I usually explain people. Like my main focus is always like emotions and like nostalgia.
How do you think that sort of like developed over time? Because I don't think you walk in like a storytelling aspect to come in as a photographer with an idea around storytelling. That obviously doesn't just present itself when you're first starting. Were there things that you did to develop that over time?
I think it started when I was shooting a lot to improve my photo skills. And I've noticed like a lot of the frames I took, I felt like I could add story to it. So I started like doing a thing where like whatever, like maybe strangers sitting at the beach or something, I started adding like little like backstory to them. I started like making all these like fictional stories up. And that's when I realized, oh, I like telling stories through frames and then like make people feel something about life through that frame. And that's how I kind of started playing around with the idea of creating stories within the frame. And then when I had that idea, I started taking like more attention to like little details, um, all that kind of stuff. And I think from then it just kind of started rolling. Like nostalgia, I think has always been there for me because I just loved how vintagey things can look. That was just I think just personal thing. I just always loved something vintage, so I've always wanted to bring that out.
I really want to go back to the part about the storytelling because I think it's really interesting. Like for myself, I struggle to pull together like through like one image to pull together a story or to tell a complete story through one image. Is that what you're kind of saying that you like have that one image and then you're sort of coming up with like a written story around that image, or are you able to tell that story through a few different images and that you're presenting every single time you go out there to do a photo shoot?
I think I do both, but when I started with one frame and one frame to have a story. So it would like, I think one of the ones that everybody liked was that I went out to Western Sydney and I took a lot of photos of stray cats. And I started adding stories and personalities and what they went through as a stray cat to each cat photos. And then people really liked that. And I think that was really fun. Because those cats have like a personalities, right? They can see it in their face. So I would be like, oh, this cat was alcoholic, now live on the street or something like that. Just like random, I'm weird. I just add random stories. Or like I would see somebody sitting alone reading, and then I would add like little stories to that. I think just to let your imagination run. That's what I usually do.
How do you like bring yourself to create that kind of stuff though? Like I would think that it's so far outside of like what I normally do. And I think for a lot of people, they would struggle to kind of change it up. Like you do this all the time and you create some really interesting images and we're able to tell these really cool stories with your images. But a lot of people would not be able to put themselves even into a space where they could even think of these things, let alone like share them with the with the world and think that they're not this idea of what we see on Instagram, right? How did you bring yourself to first start creating this content?
I think I'm just weird. But like I think what because like there's so many people in the world creating content. There's so many people in the world that doing their own thing, right? And then for me, it was always hard figuring like what I am and how not make a difference, but like you need, like whenever you're showcasing yourself to the public, you want to make yourself a little bit different from the public so that it catches somebody's attention. I think that's how it all started. I was like, even if people think I'm weird, I'm just gonna, create a story and then post it out there. And if people don't like it, that's okay. At least I tried, I always try to think of that way, try not to take it too seriously.
Well, it's interesting because I think like that comes back to the idea of like defining your own style. Like the reason people choose a specific like genre to stick at, or they pick their like niche, is because they want to be like known for that one thing. Whereas for you, it's like you're known for being that person who tells those kind of weird stories, but you engage a lot of people through that because you get known for that particular style. And so I like that idea of like being able to push the boundaries of what we think you have to do or what your style has to be. It doesn't have to be a specific genre. It can be the way you present these stories, and kind of doing that same thing all the time has become something that you're known for across a bunch of different things that you just like being able to take these photos of.
I could be wrong. I don't know how my audience feels about it, but because I'm doing those things, I'm hoping that because I start doing the weird thing, I hope they think like, oh, what's next? What is she gonna do next? What weird thing she's gonna do next? And then that creates momentum and motivation for me to shoot more weird stuff. Like I remember when I went to Japan, um, like everybody travels Japan now and they take beautiful photos of landscapes and everything. And for me, when I think of Japan, I think of like the most random things. Last trip I started taking photos of bins. So I have a series of photos of bins in Japan because everybody says Japan's so clean, and I was like, here's the like aesthetic photos of bin full of stuff. So I just started experimenting. It was really fun, and it catches somebody's eyes too. Like everybody's like, why is she taking this? But that creates like a little conversation through.
But I also think that's like what you kind of said at the start, is that you've given other people the permission to do that themselves as well. Like to feel like they don't have to just keep posting the same thing all the time. Like get a bit creative, and you'll find that people will probably engage with those images a lot more. And then that's a way to draw them in. And then when you do upload some other images, then they'll be more interested in those because you've created this story throughout all your work.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's how I want my page to be. Like I want people to come on my page and feel like, oh, like I can just do whatever. This girl is crazy. She's doing whatever, so we can do whatever. Like that's the vibe I want to give out.
You've also done a lot of like work with, other brands and other partnerships as well. How did that work start to come about? And did you ever feel like, hey, maybe I should kind of tone myself back down a bit here to be able to go out to these brands, and if they want to work with me, I can't be this weird, edgy type of person?
I'm just really thankful all the brands that comes to me and then decides to work with me. They kind of see through all the weirdness and they're like, she can do that work. And then um I don't know. I just never thought about that way. I was like, if they don't want to work with me, that's okay. Like if they want to work with me, great. That means they like my style. And then I can make something like, interesting for them.
It's interesting, right? Because I think there would be people out there who would say, I can't be that person, right? I can't be too much for brands. But for you, it's worked the other way because you do have a strong brand, right? You have something that people genuinely are interested in because you turn up as your authentic self every single time, and are just happy to put that craziness out there. Whereas some people would hold it back, thinking that that would turn people away, but actually, it's the opposite effect. And the people like yourself who just don't care and are just happy to be themselves end up drawing people closer. It's a weird thing, and it's hard to explain to people who don't understand it.
Yeah, it's really hard to explain, but I feel like, at least for me, it helped a lot just to be myself and just to be my weird self. And I'm really thankful that my community is so accepting of that.
And I think you also have a lot of like yourself out there as well. Like online, you have a lot of you like actually speaking as well, and a lot of your own personality throughout it. How did that start for you, and how was that experience of first like being online? You talked about like creating content before. Was that you turning up from the start, or did you have to slowly ease into that?
Like when I started, especially when my account suddenly started like kind of getting attention, that was when I was like really like looking to make more friends. I've always made friends online, especially because I was just living away from home. Um, so that's why, like, in order for me to make friends online, I just need to put myself out there that I'm just this kind of person. If you vibe, let's be friends. That's how I kind of all started, and I wanted people to kind of like get to know me through online. Like it's always hard to show your entire personality, but like at least they just kind of can see the vibe. That's how I kind of started.
Was that hard to put yourself out there when you're in that space of feeling a bit isolated and trying to make friends to all of a sudden think, I'm going to put myself out there online and then that's going to be the way that I make friends?
I think it was hard for me to talk to a camera. Like I was okay with showing my personality because if you go back to my really old posts and stuff, you can still see my personality through captions because I liked rumbling. Talking to the camera definitely needed a lot of practice. I was so nervous. But yeah, I'm still glad I did it though. I met so many beautiful friends in the same industry, which is really fun.
You were kind of saying that you felt like you didn't have a lot of friends. Was that just generally, or was that in the photography sort of space?
Like photography space mainly, like a creative space, I would say, because I've always been like a creative person. Like when I was living in Japan, I had like a few friends in uni where we were like, oh, let's go take photos, and then we would take turns, and then like one of us become models, and then we take photos, and then all that kind of stuff. So I always had that kind of friends. But when I moved to Australia, especially because I moved here like after I finished all uni and everything as well, so it was a bit hard for me to meet that kind of group and to find people who has the same interest. So that's when I was like feeling really isolated. Like I stopped taking photos for a while as well, just because of that, because it wasn't fun anymore for me because I didn't have anybody to share this like fun thing that I'm doing. Yeah.
Was it surprising how like isolating it can be to do photography? Because I know when I first started, I was like, I'm going to get into this thing because it's something that I see all the time on YouTube and Instagram, and like everyone's a photographer. Like it'll be easy to try to get friends in that industry. And I feel like I spent the first few years just struggling through it on my own, surprised that, there weren't these opportunities for connection and everyone was kind of feeling like they were in the same position. Were you kind of the same?
Yeah, I was exactly the same, honestly. I also didn't even know where to find these people. Like online, you go there and then you find all these like massive creators are easy to find because it's already there, right? But like for me to find actual human connection through this large platform was really, really hard. Like I first like 1 or 2 years in Sydney, I was like, I don't know where to find these people. Like I don't know where to meet them. It's not like there's like a photo club somewhere, and I couldn't find those either. It was really hard.
And was that kind of like that was in the past few years, right? You first moved to Australia around 3 years ago, am I
Yeah,
right?
yeah. About 3 years ago.
Yeah, and so spending those first couple of years, firstly like in a new place, but then also feeling like isolated from the community from a thing that you'd done previously. I'm sure that would have been hard to sort of go with, and I'm not surprised that you talked about like almost giving it away. I'm sure that a lot of people have been in that position before, feeling isolated with the thing that they really enjoyed, but not being able to share it with anyone. It does make it like very lonely, and you do wonder like why you would continue on with it.
Exactly. Like, 'cause for me, like the fun part of photography is when I go out and shoot and then like fangirl each other with all my mates and be like, oh my gosh, look at this shot. Or like we all like super fun and just hang out and take photos. That's the fun part of photography for me. I love taking photos by myself as well, but like it helps a lot when you have a friend that also like agrees and talk about it like as much passion. Whereas when I didn't have a friend, I have a partner. I love him to death, but like he just does not love photography or arts the way I do. So when I show him the photos, he was like, "Yeah, that's a good photo," and then that's the end of the conversation. But I just wanted more conversation, so yeah, it can't. Yeah, it was really hard.
And
So
I find it
isolating.
hard to explain that to people who haven't experienced that before. Like being around other creatives just gives you so much energy. But for people who haven't experienced it before, it can be hard to think that that would be, interesting or whatever, or that it is that really good, because some people can feel like, especially when they're starting, can feel very reserved and not want to share their art because they don't feel like they're up to some certain standard that they think they need to uphold, because Instagram can be such a place right now where everyone's trying to compete with everyone else, and they feel like, oh, if I go to these events or if I'm around other people, it's not going to be that supportive way. But I think once you do meet people, you realize that, hey, everyone's in the exact same position as well. We're all just so in our own work, and we don't we're all scared that other people's work is better than ours, and we're not really competing. We're all after friends as well.
Yeah, exactly. And also I feel like I can be extrovert, but then also I need a little workup before I go to big events as well. So I can imagine like when you go to those big events and hoping to meet people, but when there's so many people and some people already friends with each other, it's so hard to reach out to those people and be like, hey, I'm here. Do you want to talk? That kind of stuff. So I feel like it's a lot harder than you would think when you try to get into like those communities that's already been out there for a while.
Yeah, well, I guess that's like what you were saying about trying to meet people who are at the same stage that you're at as well. Like I know when I first started, it was like you could see the big people in your community and you were like following them, but you never thought that you would ever get to connect with them. And it's like, well, besides them, where are the other people that are just starting who are just like me?
Yeah.
Did you find that like starting to share your own story on Instagram and share videos of you helpful for other people to feel like they had that connection with you? And then did you find friends through that?
I definitely find friends through posting, because I was like quite vocal about it. And then also like when I started growing, that was because I posted on Threads saying like, oh, doesn't anyone want to come to photo walk? Because that's what I used to do. And then I was expecting only like 2 people to find me. And instead like so many people found me. And then when that happened, like so many people messaged me saying like, hey, we should hang out. Like I'm here. And then that's how I kind of found my core friends now. Yeah, so it definitely helped like putting myself out there. But it was also very, very, very overwhelming. And I was like really scared for like first like few weeks.
Were you the kind of person who would like reach out to people when you were first starting to try to make those connections? Because I feel like you can sometimes forget what that kind of feels like on the other end.
Oh no, like I'm definitely not good at reaching out to people. Like it's usually other people reach out to me and I'm like, thanks for reaching out. I wanted to reach out to you, but I was so scared I didn't do it. So I'm thankful everybody reached out to me. I sometimes try. Like I was like, okay, I just need to like shoot my shot and then message them. And I did feel that as well, but it's definitely nerve-wracking for me. Like I've only done few.
And you were saying that you organized a photo walk. Was that something that you ended up organizing after you'd advertised that to everyone? You got that response back. Did it end up happening?
Yeah, it ended up happening. So like when I first posted it, there's too many people found me. So I basically closed my app for like 2 weeks. But then like I sat with it and I was like, wait, there's so many people in same situation as me trying to find a connection. Like if I can help that, like that would be like dream. So that's when I started really planning it. And I had a friend who pretty much just only shoot film. And I asked him like, hey, do you want to do this thing? Because I definitely cannot handle this many people by myself. And then he was like, oh, I want to do it. I'm down. And that's how we started our current photo walk community. But yeah, like I'm so glad we like went through with it. Like we planned the first one. The first one we planned was chaos. I just only decided where to meet up, and once we met up, we were like, okay, what's now? And I was like, I don't know, we just walk, I guess. But I learned a lot from it, so it's good now.
Had you ever been to a photo walk before you did that one?
No, like I didn't even know it was a thing because like it was a thing for me when I was with my friends, but I've only done it with my friends, and I didn't know. Yeah, I literally didn't know photo walk was a thing. Because when I posted that thread and I was telling everybody like I can't handle this many people right now, but like one day I will. a lot of people messaged me saying like, oh, gee, there's a like other camera shops and stuff actually organizing this. And I was like, wait, I didn't know that. Like, why is this information not out there for like people like me? And then I started sharing those to everybody before I posted my own one. But yeah.
It's amazing that you've been able to, organize that just on your own. To think that you wanted to find community and find friends within a space, and you just like kind of took that upon yourself to be able to create the thing that you were after. I think that that should be, so highly congratulated, because so many people should do that as well. Like, it's not that big of a scary thing. You just upload something on Threads just to see if anyone would be interested. And surprisingly, I'm sure you were so surprised when you got so many people back.
Well, you know what's the greatest thing about this photo walk thing I started was when I started, everybody saw me doing it, right? And then basically other people in the world, it's like some people in Philippines, I think like one in Canada or like within Australia as well. I think there was in like a Gold Coast or something. Everybody was like, Chi, tell me tips. We want to do it in our own country. And I was like, go for it. And I gave them all the tips of like what I would change. Like for the first time I hosted it. And then they hosted their own one and they would tag me and saying inspired by Chi. And I was like, oh my gosh, you guys did it. And then they were growing their own community there. It's so sweet. Like I love that I got to inspire people to build their own community. It's so fun.
That's incredible, Chi. Like, you've just handed everyone else. Here's all like the mistakes that I like made the first time, and now don't do these. Explain to us a bit more about like what the Photo Walk community is and kind of where it's grown to now.
Well, it's a place like Patrick and I, we want this to be a place where very open-minded and then people to just come, hang out, take photos and just like connect with each other and then make friends. We just wanted it to be like a place where people can make friends. That's what we all want. That's why like a lot of the photo walks we're currently hosting, we don't do crazy big ones at the moment. I know that's one of the reasons why a lot of people are still waiting to join one. But like I find out like when you host like more than like 40 people photo walks, it's so hard for people to actually talk to each other. So we're hosting like a 15 to 20 people small group so that I can monitor everybody to make sure like everybody's talking to each other, nobody's left out as well. Yeah, and then we can just talk and have fun and they become friends. And then when we host another event, they come together again and they're chatting. And yeah, that's kind of the community we are growing at the moment. It's open for any levels of people, like open for anyone, even if you just started, then you don't even know how to use your like camera, just like open to any levels. Usually though, when I do photo walks, like regular like monthly photo walks, I know it's easier to photograph when there's a model. So we try to organize some models to come in so they have like at least like one or two subjects to shoot. But we've always tell them like if you want to shoot street during photo walk, go for it. You don't have to shoot portrait, but like models will be there if you want to shoot portraits. And then it helps people what to shoot and then like start talking, all that kind of stuff.
I really like the idea of the small group as well, because I've certainly been to those events before where they can feel overwhelming and there's so many people there that you don't actually get to speak to anyone.
And then also like, yeah, we actually, when we started with like 10 people. Then next one, I think we did like 20 or something. And then the third one, we did like 40 people. That's how we kind of figure out what works the best for our goal. Because our goal was to, again, like for people to find their friends or community. And then when we did 40 people, we literally needed to break them down into 3 different groups and led by different team to walk around, so that public space doesn't get too crowded, And then we were like, oh, if we do that, they can't talk to everybody in the group and they can't really know everyone that's like there. So we were just like, okay, let's do smaller ones. So that's how we kind of landed with the 15 to 20 number. I did it a lot last year. I was hosting like one a month last year. And then also like, I think last September, October, I was hosting like a 3 a month. It was crazy. I overdid it, but it was really fun. But yeah, I was hosting a lot. Last year I got to host one in Melbourne as well, and I hosted one in Japan as well, which was really fun. So So yeah, we did a lot, but me and Patrick both agreed like one a month is a good number for us. So this year, we're starting back up from February, and then probably just do one a month from then.
Yeah, it's nice. It's hard to pull yourself back from not kind of over committing to doing these things because you can enjoy them a lot, but it's like there's a lot of work involved as well. I'm sure. Yeah.
There's a lot of planning that goes through, and then we need to like consider weather and stuff as well, finding models, finding route, try to make the route not too repetitive as well. There's a lot of research. Like I go location hunting a lot.
Are you planning like a new space to go every single time?
uh Not now. Now I reuse like locations every now and then. But I try to do different one every month. I want it to be different location, but we just kind of rotate like 5 to 6 different location every now and then.
And you guys are obviously doing them in Sydney, but it's amazing that you've been able to host them elsewhere as well. Have you had other people ever since it's been growing, like reach out to, be able to host them in other locations as well?
Yeah, a lot of people still reach out to me asking like, oh, can you host at like Adelaide or Perth, all the other places in Australia. Like I got quite a lot of like involved with like UK communities, and then all the people in the UK as well. They were like, oh, can you come host in Europe, anywhere in Europe, and we'll come. And I was like, oh, that's a big one. But yeah, I would love to. Because like once I connect people, it just kind of starts snowballing and they just can do their own things. I just want to be like, because I know it's hard to start. So I just want to be the person to just kind of set up everything. And because the Melbourne one, now that I hosted once, I have like a team of four, and they now just organize their own one in Melbourne. And then they just tell me like, oh, can we host this in like this day? And I was like, yeah, go for it. Like just do whatever. So it's so nice to see the community growing. I think like for now, I do also think I probably should focus on like growing Sydney community, hosting it more regularly. Because I know like when my work gets busy, I tend to get overwhelmed and then like push back the events and stuff. But I want to make it like properly regular this year, like host it once a month. But also I would love to host the different parts of Australia and then start spreading like a little community so that like people like me who are like feeling alone doesn't feel so alone anymore. Because it's once you find the community, creating make like it becomes so much easier, and I want that for everybody.
Yeah, are you able to like explain the like importance of that community? Like, if you had really good feedback from other people who come along to these photo walks who are just starting and who are like really finding community for the first time?
Yeah. I've met a lot of people that are actually in a really similar position as me. Like some of them, they moved to Australia like few years ago, like me, and they were also like had the same thing where they're struggling to find their own community, didn't know where to find the community, and I just popped up, and now they have friends through this community, and I was like, yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people who needed that, and I'm very happy that I can help that.
If there's like anyone else out there who wants to start a community of their own or start a photo walk or anything like that, what's the biggest advice you would give them? Like, what are some of the hurdles that you came up against when you were first starting that you'd be like, please don't do this?
I think the biggest thing, if you want to start a photo walk community, like before you announce everything, at least just know your route, know like where you're starting and then where you're ending. That's the biggest thing. But I also saying that I feel like you can overthink and prep so much, and the stuff actually never happens. So just announce first, and then just do it. And then once it's snowballing, you just everything just kind of starts, and then you have to do it. So I feel like that's the good advice, because like it's easy for me to just think too much and actual things never happening. So I feel like just actually start doing it, and then like trying to figure out everything while everything is happening has actually kind of helped me.
I think as creatives, we're all just so caught up on things having to be perfect, and that often gets in the way of us ever starting anything. I speak to so many people who've had these ideas for years that want to do things, and I'm like, just start it. Just give yourself a date that it has to happen, and just start it, because it'll never go perfectly. Like, I'm sure you've over planned things, and then you work out, hey, we actually won't get to walk as far as we first because we got to this really beautiful spot and everyone wants to stop there. Like it doesn't, like it won't go to plan, and that's okay.
Even still, like when I route places, usually I'm like, oh, we're still halfway through, but like time's quite like it's already been like 2 3 hours. I feel like people should go home, and then we're like, okay, let's cut out and then just make it shorter. You'll always have to make little changes, so nothing will be perfect, and it still works out. Everybody have fun, and that's, I think, that what matters.
What have you seen as been the biggest upside of being able to start these communities for yourself, but also for other people as well?
Knowing that I have all these people backing me up, like I have that. I'm not sure about people in the community. Maybe they listen to this, they'll be like, oh no. But like for me, I truly feel like everybody in the community really supports me from the ground up. And whenever I'm feeling down, they show up. When I launch new things, they show up. And I feel like that like feeling of having people in my back is such a like a oh, I can't even explain it. It's like a crazy feeling for me. Like I'm very thankful. And then also like for me to be able to bring all these people together and then hearing stories of like, oh gee, I got my first photo gigs, or like they tell me like, oh, we met at your photo walk and now we are best friends and now we hang out all the time, and all that kind of stuff just really, really like fulfilling. Like as a host.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be really beautiful to be able to be so involved in other people's journeys and be able to give them opportunities for connection, because, once they're in and find that connection, it can be amazing how much you can grow when you didn't even realize that you were like, I'm missing out on so much by not being a part of a big community.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I'd love to kind of go back and sort of understand how you first started photography. I know we've talked about a lot of your journey and what you're up to today, but we didn't really touch on how you first got into photography. When did that first all start for you?
See, it's all blurry because I feel like I've always kind of played around with camera. The earliest memory I have is like I have a older sister, and she's like 10 years older than me, so she's always had cooler stuff than I did as a kid. And then I think when she was in like high school and I was in like elementary school or something, she had like a disposable camera. And that was such a fun thing for me. I was like, you can't see the photos, but you can take photos, and later it comes out. So that's how I kind of started playing with cameras. Like she was nice enough to let me use it sometimes, and I was like, oh, the cameras, and that's how I started using. And then I think when I was maybe like 10 or something, I got iPod Touch. And you know how iPod Touch has a camera? Yeah. So I was like, okay, this is my camera now, and I have so many photos on my iPod Touch where I took a lot of photos. Yeah, then that worked out really well. And then that was when I was still like playing around with framing, and like I didn't know how to edit or anything. And then I think when I entered high school, that's when my parents bought me my first ever mirrorless camera. And then that's when I started shooting properly, and I started like learning editing and everything. Yeah, that's how all my photography kind of started. But everything was still like travel photos and like a lot of like scenery and street photos rather than taking portraits and stuff.
Is that where your love for like nostalgia in photography came from? Like starting on an iPod? Like I can imagine those images would have been really nostalgic to look back on now.
Because like the reason why I started loving photography is because I can go back to that time when I shot the photos, right? Like I want to have it as a memory, because like some of my grandparents, like one of my grandpa passed away when I was like still in middle school, but because I took so many photos, I had so many memories with him that I can look back on, and that's what I value the most in photography, that like I can go back in time to feel and like remember all these memories. I don't know if you have that, but like when you just the most random photos you look back on, and then you just have flashback of memories comes back from that frame. I don't know if you experienced that, but I had that a lot. So I think that's how all the nostalgia stuff like came to me.
It's actually one of the reasons why I like photography over videography. And I've always said that to people, is that because I think an image can really allow you to still have a memory of it of a certain time, like because you've still got to come up with what was happening around. Like when you record something on video, it's all there for you, right? You can see the like movements. You don't really have to do too much processing to remember what it was like because it's right there for you on a screen. But an image, you've actually got to come up with the story in your own head. You've got to remember back, and it can be so nostalgic to look back at an image more so than to look back over a video, I think. And that's why I've always held those like images to me as something that I think are so special. And I try to like tell people all the time, like that is going to probably like hold a more special place for you in years to come, because it will allow you to sort of piece together what was happening around that time.
No, I definitely agree with that. I think that's like probably the one thing I love about the photography. Like I don't know if everybody get flashbacks, but I get flashbacks from like the most random photos. Like I have photos from when I was like 3, like posing at the pool with my like siblings. And I look at that and I remember my sister didn't look at me when I was swimming and I almost drowned. I remember that memory. Like it's like the most random thing that I can remember. But I think that's the fun in photography. And then, yeah.
And so then you said you were doing a lot of like street photography, a lot of travel photography when you first started. How did that evolve for you? And then what did you then jump into? Because you said you've like tried everything. How did that process go of starting there?
Literally up until recently, I did not take photography seriously because like especially like how we grew up in Japan, like pursuing art kind of was seen as like a little bit hard thing. Like you were kind of expected to, go to uni and do 9 to 5. So I've never taken photography that seriously until like I moved to Australia. So all the photos I've taken, it was very, very casual. I've never tried to up my skill or anything. It would just come more like take whatever that feels beautiful for me. I will edit, and then that's just gonna be an album. So I feel like in that sense, like start of my journey, I wasn't really focusing on like getting better as a photographer. But I think it was when I first moved to Australia and I met a friend. And later I found out she actually owned the art shop and she wanted me to shoot her launch campaign for a new product. And I was like, I'm a hobbyist. I can't do this. But she really believed in me. She was like, no, I see your vision. I love the way you take photos. You just need to try it. And that's when it kind of clicked to me that I was like, wait, maybe this can be a thing. Like maybe I can actually take photography seriously. And then from that on was when I started like taking it seriously, learning about like color theories and lighting and all that kind of stuff. And that I think helped a lot with learning photography itself. Like style wise, I think style wise as well, that campaign made me realize I actually like guiding models and like shooting with models or shooting with people. So I think that's how I kind of got into like shooting more, like photography more families and friends and that kind of stuff.
It's amazing that you have that story, because I think so many photographers struggle to call themselves like a real photographer or like a professional photographer or whatever the case may be. We all sit there and think we're just hobbyists for years until like we get that one job and we think, oh, actually, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm here to do, and I've been hired to do this one thing. So like another person has believed in me, so therefore I should start to believe in myself. But you obviously had a lot of skills up till that point, right? Like you obviously knew what you were trying to do. You weren't just you hadn't just started like the day before. You'd been doing this for years.
Yeah, I think I just know that I knew how the frame looks, because like especially like most of my life I had that iPod Touch and iPhone. I didn't get the mirrorless until I was in high school, so I was like didn't know about the settings. All I knew was how to make everything aesthetic with this one setting that I have. So I think I played around with framing a lot, and that helped a lot. Like I think that practice combined with me learning actual photography skills of learning like settings and like how to use cameras and everything kind of worked out really well in the end. But like I didn't realize I can take like a good photos until like recently. I just thought I was just a hobbyist.
Where like did you learn photography from then?
I learned on YouTube. were the one of the person I was
Me?
learning from. Yeah,
No.
I know. Yeah, cause like I was on TikTok and I was watching like I wanted to learn how to learn Flash and short lights, and you make all these like so easy to understand tutorials, and um that's how I kind of learned as well. And I watched a lot of like other photographers. I watched a lot of like very long, like 1 hour long YouTube video breaking down how your camera works, and I would just watch that whole day.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
I watched a lot of YouTube videos.
It's crazy how much is out there now, like that you could learn so much from just, consuming all the content that's out there. But like for you, it's interesting that you said like knowing how to frame an image was probably the most important thing, and having that artistic eye for like photography from the start just really helped you. Is that what you would say is like the most important thing for a person just starting to sort of focus on? Because I think you can learn so much online these days, but I think there are some other skills that are really important as well. And I find that some people just really have them from the start.
Yeah, I feel like you could definitely learn a lot of technical skills and like like rules of thirds, or all that kind of rules that you can learn online as well. But I feel like most importantly, you just need to go out and figure out what looks good for you and just play around to learn like what's good, what's not good. And if you find something doesn't look good, like figure out why, like break it down. I did that a lot when I was taking photos. Like what I don't like about it is that the contrast, is that the lighting, is the framing, and that helps a lot learning. And after you practice that so much, I feel like your eyes get used to seeing the shots. So like now that I did quite a lot of couple shots, like when I started couple shots, I sucked. Like I didn't know what I was doing. Now whenever I see it, I know what I need to, how I need to guide them. I know what angle where I need to shoot. But that's only because like I did so much practice that my eyes got used to knowing what I think looks good in frames. And that helped a lot. So I feel like a lot of practice, like practice in the field. Just go out and take photos.
How did you like practice though? Because I feel like that's the answer from everyone, but everyone wants to know how you get practice. Like, how do you start working with people if you haven't ever worked with someone before? And I get that question a lot. But I really want to tell people to practice, but then I'm like, well, how did they practice? So how did you start practicing?
So for me, when I started, I reached out to all my friends who I knew would love a pretty Instagram photos. And I was like, hey, do you want to come out, hang out with me at the beach? And I can take a bunch of cute photos. And after that, we can hang out. And because we're already friends, like we can just, hang out and take cute photos. They can give me feedback and I can learn. That's how I kind of started. Other things I did later on was reaching out to like other photographers and just kind of asking like, hey, can I tag along to your test shoot, or can I tag along to your portrait shoot? I'll just be there. If you need assist, I will assist, but I just want to see what you do. And that's how I kind of found out one of my friend and how he guides models. Up until then, I didn't even know I can guide a model. And I was like, oh, I can move, I can ask them to kind of do different things and move around, like how to make other people comfortable. Like, I think shadowing that person made me realize I need to learn what posing looks good for people, so that when they are struggling, I can just tell them what to do. Yeah, so that's how you kind of start. I think start with friends. It's the easiest.
I think this is why you're like, why your photo walks are so important as well. Like having a space that you can practice, that at the end of the day, it doesn't like matter what the images turn out like, and you can feel okay to try things, but there's no pressure. Because I think a lot of times people think that they've got to go out there and do their first job having not had any experience before. And if that all goes wrong, it can be hard to pull yourself back up, to put yourself back in that scenario again. When you're working with someone who has expectations, when you're working for a client, you might not know what you're trying to do. But for you, like working with friends or going along to like a walk where you can just try things and there's no expectations, because we need to practice, but there isn't always. I think people find it hard to find those places where they can practice, but they do exist. Like, as we know, they do exist. They are out there. You've just got to become comfortable with putting yourself out there.
Definitely. Because I feel like a lot of people's I don't want to say problem. It's not really a problem, but it's like, like when you want to do something, but you're too scared to reach out. But like at the end of the day, you really need to try and reach out because the opportunities doesn't just flow into your page suddenly. So yeah, I feel like yeah, people just need to put yourself out there. Try to DM. One of my friends that I met at photo walk told me when I was like in that state where I was like, I want to do something, but I don't know what to do, and I wasn't doing anything. He was like, what's the worst thing happen if you DM somebody? They just don't reply to you. That's okay. That just, like they just don't reply. You move on and you DM another person. If they don't reply, it's fine, And then one day, after like you message 10 people, maybe one person replies, and that's all you need to start.
And like, who doesn't want to have their images done, right? Like, I was like that when I was starting couples photography. I just reached out to all my friends who I knew had partners, and I was like, "Hey, do you guys want images together?" Like, who's going to say no to that? Like, no, really, like, no one will. And if they do, who cares? They're still your friends. It's okay. Like, it's not awkward. Like, being comfortable to put yourself out there is the biggest thing, and it can just be small like that. Like, you don't have to start uploading to Instagram if you don't feel okay with it. Like, just start small, ask friends and family, but you've got to put yourself out there in some way, because opportunities won't just come to you when you're first starting. And feeling sad for yourself in the beginning that you might not be as far along as other people that you're like looking around at who have all these opportunities. Well, it's probably because they've put themselves out there before and they may be at a completely different stage than you're at. You've just got to be comfortable to start, and it will snowball eventually. Like, you'll get one opportunity, a friend then might refer you on to another friend, and then you upload those images and they might get seen by another person online who asks you to do work for them. You've just got to be comfortable to try things, and not everything will work, but the ones who do take the chances are more likely to succeed. Yeah.
Because I feel like also like it's stopping a lot of people because they're scared to fail. But then also like a failing is not the worst thing, because I feel like worst thing for me is like not doing something and regretting that I didn't do something. I feel like that's worse than me do something and fail it. Because like when you fail something, you learn from it. Like you learn from it, you can work on your skills and you get better. So there's actually like positive outcome out of failing something. So yeah, I feel like people just need to start doing and then see how it goes.
Yeah, there's so much you can learn from everything you do, regardless of whether you get it like right or wrong. You'll learn something from it. Like, even you going back before, like talking about doing like a food photography job. Like, you might work out that you didn't enjoy that, and to me, that's an upside. That's a big thing. That's huge. Like, working out you don't enjoy something, because we're all as creatives, like, we all just want to do everything. But at least now you know that when that opportunity comes your way next time, you might be like, hey, that's just not for me. I'd rather put my energy into something else.
Exactly. And then the great thing about that is like when you know what you don't like for me, like I know I don't like food photography. So if somebody reaches out, I can always refer my friends who likes food photography and they can get the opportunities, and it works for me, works for them.
What are kind of some of the biggest opportunities that you've had in the past 12 months that you think would have been like crazy to your past health to realize that you've had?
Oh my gosh. So many. Anything that I did past 12 months is not something I expected. Every time something happens, I'm just like, am I like, what? Like, what is happening? Like, all the brand work I did, I was like, I can't even believe it. I think if I told myself a year ago I was working with like DJI or like Ultimate Sound or like I can't, like all those stuff. I just don't know how that happened. Also, like I think the very recent one though. I did a surprise proposal shoot, and then it was crazy because the boyfriend was flying in from different country, and then we were figuring out all these logistic like online because he wasn't here, and on the day his flight got 5 hours delayed, and then we were still figuring out, oh my god, we just like we need to make this happen. And then when everything actually worked out and I recently delivered the photos and they loved it, and then that was like I was like, wow, like I feel like I was part of like a big part of like their milestones, and then that felt like crazy.
I love doing like proposals. I feel like they're really cool in that way, to feel like you're a big part in planning something, and it's so like up in the air. It can be really stressful at the same time, but like when it all works out, it can be really like rewarding.
Yes, yes. I love it. It's so good.
It's also amazing to hear that you say that was one of the biggest things over, all the amazing brand work and all the really cool community things that you've done in the past year, that was one of the really big highlights for you. I think it just...
Yeah, like community thing, I'm so thankful. Like I'm so glad that it happened. But I think for memory wise, like I feel like giving impact to that one person is such a big thing for me, especially because you know who you are giving impact to. But yeah, that was like, yeah, crazy thing I think that happened.
It certainly does take a very special type of person to want to put themselves out there and help other people and organize things for other people. So it's amazing work that you've been able to do, Chi. I think it's just amazing the community that you've been able to bring together, and to see you succeeding so much in the past year has been, amazing to see where you've come through it all. I think it's a big inspiration for so many people out there, and I'm sure they will take a lot away from your story. I just had one last question for you, that I think that there are a lot of people who are feeling, sort of isolated within the community, or feeling like they've just started photography and can't find any friends in the space, no matter where they are in the world, or like maybe they've just like moved to a new place and are trying to find friends in the industry. What's sort of a few pieces of advice that you would give to that person, or a few things that they can try to really put themselves out there, or where they can go to try to find, a supportive community like you have?
Oh, that's so hard. But I think if you're in Australia, like come join my photo walk, I think. Because like I organize like a little online community as well, and I have like a SENPO Instagram where they can just collaborate and then post those things, and then they have a chat there, and I feel like that's a great way to create connection in Australia. If you're international, or like everywhere else that's like far away from Sydney, I feel like the main thing you can probably do is try to put yourself out there in the public. I know it's very scary, but maybe just start posting, or maybe just organize your own little, like it doesn't have to be like 20 people. It can be like just 5 people. Like maybe talk to the public platform, or like there's a lot of like Facebook groups in those neighborhoods. And you can always join those and ask them, like, hey, anybody wants to hang out for coffee, just talk about photography, and maybe 5 people comes, and that could be your core friends. Yeah, I think that would be my advice, to put yourself out there.
And you'd be surprised what you can achieve by just like sharing your own story online. Like, I think we all get to that point that we feel like, I can't be the only one who feels this way, right? Like, and you're not the only one. I'm sure there are heaps of other people in your community who are like looking out for people. And just like you said, just feel free to like reach out to other people in your area. Like if you see other people online, just reach out to them. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Like you said before, like what's the worst? If they don't reply, they don't reply. But at least you've tried it. And I think so many people are like stuck, but you've just got to be the one to make that first move. And as soon as you find the community, you'll be so grateful that you did take that step. And we'll be sure to link your community down below, Chi, and we'll link all your stuff below. And I think it's going to be really helpful for a lot of people, I know, here in Australia, but elsewhere in the world. If you want to start your own community, I always tell people, start your own thing.
Exactly. And then if they really need help, like they can just DM me, and then I'll help. Like I've been helping like so many people organize their own stuff at their own country. Like I would love to help. So just ask me, I'm a DM away.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. I'm sure you'll get a lot of people ask you about how to start these things, because they are things that I hear a lot of people want community but just don't know how to start. So it's nice to be able to have that little bit of a help at the start.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chi. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And that's the end of today's episode. If you're watching on YouTube, there'll be another episode linked up here or down below the like button. And while you're down there, why don't you leave me a comment to let me know that you are here? And I'd love to hear what you took away from this episode. If you're listening to the audio version as well on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, feel free to leave me a rating or review. It does really help to get the show out to a new audience of people just like yourself who would also be super motivated by these episodes. As we tell stories of creative people, I want to pay my respects to the first creatives of the land on which I'm recording this podcast, the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people of so-called Australia. Editing and post-production on this episode was done by Mossy Heart Media, and music by JW Payton.